Good afternoon, fellow ruminators. Welcome back. Not ruminators, but welcome to my declassified Caribbean channel. Thank you so much for joining. And today's topic or title, Jamaica turned IShowSpeed Show or IShowSpeed's visit into a global cultural spectacle. IShowSpeed's Caribbean tour reached a stunning climax in Jamaica, and what unfolded was far bigger than a typical live stream. From reggae and dancehall legends to history, food, culture, and a breathtaking drone display lighting up the Jamaican sky with the IShowSpeed Show. Jamaica appeared determined to give the Speed and his millions of viewers an unforgettable experience. While the Dominican Republic generated massive viral numbers and over 2 million concurrent viewers, and that is in dispute at the moment, Jamaica showcased something different: cultural power, global influence, and entertainment sophistication from one of the Caribbean's smallest islands. With appearances and arrangements from figures connected to the Marley family, Beenie Man, Sean Paul, Gyptian, and others, the live stream became a showcase of Jamaica's extraordinary cultural reach. Did Jamaica deliver the strongest stop of IShowSpeed's Caribbean tour? And that is up for debate, and we shall be delving into that topic this morning and why Caribbean citizens are so consumed by IShowSpeed and his shenanigans. And what does this moment reveal about the Caribbean's growing influence in the digital age? Now, I've been saying to you that we are actually being digitized, and a part of our economy has to do with culture, right? That is what you have to understand. So, what they're doing right now is that they are digitizing, as it were. We are now being objectified as citizens, and we've got to understand that. So, the global capitalists, they are using us now, they are treating us as digitized cultural artifacts. Now, who benefits? These are some of the things that we are going to discuss in this afternoon's program. Now, did Jamaica outdo itself? Did IShowSpeed's visit prove Jamaica is the cultural capital of the Caribbean? Now, the DR generated the biggest viral scale and audience numbers. Jamaica delivered the strongest cultural presentation and symbolic finale. Trinidad leaned more into entertainment and crowd energy, which many of the other Caribbean nations did. Many people said that Jamaica started off very slowly and boring, as many people were suggesting. Now, initially, I was not interested in watching anything. I didn't watch it. I just saw segments on my TikTok. And when I was scrolling TikTok, I came across the segment with the former Miss Jamaica Universe, Yendi Phillips. And I listened. First of all, I was saying when I saw her, I was about to say, why is she wasting her time? But the fact of the matter is that I listened and I thought it was very informative, very educational. And as usual, Yendi is an important cultural ambassador for Jamaica. So without further ado, let us listen to what Yendi. Let us look at the encounter between iSpeed and Yendi and how that was informative and would have given IShowSpeed something to think about. Because that is the whole thing, we don't want him to just be there to dance and to sing and to jump and to bark. Because all of those stuff are what, white people think that's who we represent, that we're just entertainers and we like to behave chaotic, and that is how IShowSpeed behaves. But we are much more than that. Let me see if I could get my screen to be shared with you. It seems like I'm having a little challenge here. So yes, it's up now. So let me see if I can share the screen and get you right there and see the interaction between Yandy Phillips, former Jamaica Miss Universe, former Miss Universe Jamaica, and see what she has to say. Let me turn up the volume. So we have here. Can you see?
Wait, you got some chicken? Yeah, I got some. What's this? Chicken.
All right, sorry. It's not that. That was not it.
Here is actually our only female hero. She's our heroine, Nanny of the Maroons.
Nanny of the Maroons.
So the Maroons actually fought for freedom and were marooned up in the hills of Jamaica, right? But here it is. She negotiated with the British and she said, guess what? We want our freedom, you have to give us land and you can't touch that land. And that treaty was actually signed into reality, which still stands today.
For real?
Maroons are still here in the hills and nobody can govern their land but them. Isn't that badass?
That's the secret sauce of Jamaica.
Oh, come on now. Look, I have goosebumps in the sun. Look at that.
Wait, you do got goosebumps. Wait, why you got goosebumps right now?
Because I'm emotional about Nanny. You would be great too if you knew your ancestors fought that kind of fight. Come on.
Man, hey, by the way, do you think I'm Jamaican?
I mean, we can check. Come, okay. So this is Sam Sharp, another one of our heroes. This is George William Gordon.
George William Gordon.
Yep, we're gonna keep going.
Okay. Yeah, she's giving me a whole Jamaican history lesson.
Yeah. And
George, Nancy Noren.
No, Nanny of the Maroons.
Oh, Nanny.
Oh, here you go.
Oh, she's doing a $5 bill.
So look, on the money here, that's Nanny of the Maroons, and that's Sam Sharp. So literally, on the backs of these people is why that's why, you know how they say, you ever hear somebody say, Jamaicans don't frighten for nobody. We respect everybody, but nobody don't better than we. You know that? Like a patty chest. Say nobody don't better than me.
Nobody better than me.
Whoa.
Wait, nobody better than me.
No. Come again. Nobody better than me.
Nobody better than me.
And they say, Yendi says so.
Yendi says so.
I'm Yendi, by the way. Nice to meet you. I'm former Miss Universe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is.
All right. So this is Paul Vogel, another one of our heroes, and this now. Come on, Steve. This is Marcus Messiah Garvey. Now, hear me out. I know you just came from an African tour, right? And you probably saw Marcus all over Africa, but Marcus is born right here in Jamaica. A Jamaican born right here in St. Anne in Jamaica. But hear what? He is a person who literally advocates for Black people to understand their power. He was just like, listen, we are a united race. We're a mighty race. Together, we are more powerful. So he's like, I'm not negotiating with nobody else. We can run.
Nobody better than me.
No. Better.
Better than me.
Yeah, right there, so.
Nobody better
So
than
that's
me.
Marcus Garvey. He's also, by the way, our first national hero that we've ever had. That's Marcus Garvey.
And also he's the reason why there's a black star in the flag of Ghana.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's the reason why there's a black star in the flag.
Really?
Yep.
This black star line.
That's
All right.
great.
This is Sir William Alexander Bustamante, and this is Norman Bustamante. I see, girl.
What's up, ladies? What's Jamaican dance move already? Jamaica dance.
Learn
a dance move already? The Vogel.
Yeah. Heroes and freedom fight.
Okay, so that was the description, the historical recount, well, brief historical recount of Jamaica's history, particularly as it relates to the national heroes of Jamaica, which was very, very important. And that is what the show should be all about, should be something educational, something historic, something informative, something that makes the connection between Africa and the Caribbean. IShowSpeed was particularly hyperactive. Doesn't seem like he was very interested. And as someone who has taught many African Americans, you can see that he has a problem with concentrating, with focusing on things that matter, on important things. Of course, some people are saying that he's a kid, but he's not a kid. He's 21 years old. We might say that he suffers from ADHD or whatever, hyperactivity, but we must understand now that he is a young man and he has to take responsibilities in life. Okay, and we don't want our people to always be viewed as just being hyperactive. That is how white people in America, someone who has taught there for many years, understand the education system profoundly, I understand that that is how they view us. Okay, as always being hyperactive, we're never able to settle down, and this is what racism is all about. Racism is not just saying the N-word. Okay, and by the way, I will save that for another time, for later. So let me just, because I'm going to deal with somewhat talk about the M word and what some of the words he was using in Jamaica. So we can see here that part of it should be analytical, and that is what Yendi was doing. She was giving an educational tour, a brief, though it might be so that it could empower his mind. So We saw the drone display, the parents watching emotionally, Jamaica being the final stop. Well, it's not the final stop, but counting down to the final stop, I think, but the Bahamas is the final stop. So the blending of history, music, food, and spectacle that turns it into a narrative arc, not just hype. So that was good. I'm happy that Jamaica just did not do dancing, right? And all of the barks and the seminal things that the IShowSpeed's shenanigans and his tour are known for. You can even say something like this, as far as, his tour was concerned. Now, the Dominican Republic, on the other hand, may have produced the largest numbers and raw viral energy, but Jamaica appeared to approach the visit differently, as a carefully crafted cultural experience designed to leave a lasting impression on both IShowSpeed and his global audience. Okay, so the fact of the matter is that we saw where, Jamaica highlighted reggae music, dancehall music, and its global music culture and the Marley legacy. And all of these, engaged, okay, directly with his live stream audience. And it really felt surreal. It really felt surreal when we saw the number of entertainers that surrounded him in just that one instance, right? Jamaica's global cultural ambassadors, particularly, of course, musicians, as that's what we have produced. Now, we have to be careful when we suggest that we are the capital of the Caribbean. No island in the sea, no island in the sea is any capital, right? All of us, because we're living in the era of globalization, okay? And many of the decisions are not coming out of Port of Spain or out of Kingston or out of Bridgetown or Georgetown, comes out of Brussels, the United Nations, Washington, D.C., the City of London. We don't make the decisions as you think we do. Having said that, all of the islands have their different talents, right? And areas in which they shine. Jamaica shines culturally. Okay, we are a cultural superpower, if you will. Economically, no. We would have to give that to the DR, the Dominican Republic, in terms of GDP and the fastest growing economy. Trinidad also would shine in that area. When we think of the intellectual capital of the Caribbean, the academic, if you will, then we would look at perhaps Trinidad also in terms of the number of intellectuals that they have produced per square mile. Okay, they have produced some very, very world-renowned intellectuals, right? We think of even St. Lucia because of, it's a small island, but we know that they created the likes of the Derek Walcott, which is an international renowned poet, okay, Caribbean poet. We can think of probably Barbados also. Okay, so we have to be careful by generalizing that one Caribbean country shines in everything, because we don't. We have our distinctive areas that we are known for. But Jamaica, we must say, given its size, has really, it has really, transcended cultural barriers, linguistic and cultural barriers. So in terms of food, in terms of music, and just in terms of the raw culture. But it does mean, therefore, that we are capitalizing that to build a great economy and to build our infrastructure, which is at the moment, has already collapsed. When you look at the roads in Jamaica, just the roads there, I saw the young man being driven down to a public school somewhere in downtown Kingston, and the potholes that were on the roads is just really, really disgusting and embarrassing, to say the least. Okay? So we cannot go ahead saying that we're the capital of the Caribbean and we have decrepit infrastructure. something that is sparks maybe the mid 20th century. We have not moved on from the mid 20th century. We've got to build, and it's not just building some high-rise buildings, but it is also building infrastructure with the requisite amenities such as water, housing, electricity, so that our people can live comfortably. They don't have to be wealthy, but they can live comfortably. And then we can talk about who is the capital of the Caribbean. Until we do that, until we improve also on our educational or literacy levels, we cannot at this moment say that we are the capital of the Caribbean, even though we are given limelight and even though we are creative. Okay, we could say that we are the creative capital of the Caribbean because Jamaicans are in fact creative. But to just say, generally speaking, that we are the capital, and I see this back and forth between Trinidadians, particularly, and Jamaicans, we need to stop it. And that is a video I would like to produce. Did the IShowSpeed Show also divide us? Because we're seeing a resurgence in the anti-Jamaicanism or the anti-Trinidadian and all of that stuff coming from us, and who created reggae and who did not that, and we are the ones who created that. We have the best curry, we have the best patties, we have all of this childish sort of behavior. And there was a gentleman who saw it, the division in the Caribbean, and he's an American. And well, whether American or Canadian, I'm not sure, but it seems like he is American. And he was actually in Jamaica, and he said that he was creating some videos, making some videos there, in which he was suggesting that these are the apples or whatever he was eating, and commending Jamaica for its beauty and its delicious food. And he said somebody from Trinidad started saying, well, we have the best and all of that. So let me just have you listen to him and what he has to say, because we're behaving very badly, particularly after this IShowSpeed tour show. We need to grow up now. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to grow up and stop talking about who has the best food and who has the best. Nobody cares who has the best food, okay? If somebody eats something delicious, we all cook well. I've eaten from many different Caribbean islands, and they have their distinctive flavors, and I enjoy all of them, from Grenada to Trinidad, Tobago, all of these Caribbean islands. I've eaten Guyana, I've eaten from them, and I've had some very good food. Can I say they were better? No, they had their distinctive, and that is what diversity means, that we should embrace. We don't want to always eat the same curry, so when I eat curry goat from Jamaica, I enjoy that distinctive taste. You get it from Trinidad, they have another distinctive taste, and both can be equally delicious. Okay? So let's go now to what this guy is saying, and because we have a problem and we have to try to get rid of it.
And if you know Jesus is about to give
Oh,
you
sorry. That was not what I was
trying
trying to do.
share this video.
Oh, sorry about that.
All right, TikTok, I need your guys' help. I've been getting a lot of hate comments in all of my TikToks from people from Trinidad. Sorry, it's a bit sunny out here. And they keep saying, oh, that Jamaican apple ain't a Jamaican apple. That's a Trinidad apple. That KFC is ass. You need to try the KFC in Trinidad. What's the problem with this? Why is everybody from Trinidad hating on Jamaica? Let me know. Is this something that's been going on for a very long time? It just makes me frustrated. I'm over here talking about how beautiful Jamaica is, and then you got all these haters from Trinidad talking about, well, you need to come to Trinidad. Yeah, I do. But when I get there, I'll make videos about Trinidad. For now, enjoy Jamaica. Damn.
Yeah. And he has a point, right? He has a point. So we see now.
Sorry, TikTok, I need you guys'
Sorry,
help.
let me get this off. Sorry. Yeah.
In all of my TikToks from people from Trinidad. Sorry, it's a bit sunny out here.
Sorry about
And
that.
they keep saying, oh, that
Oh,
Jamaican
Lord,
apple
why
ain't
is this
Jamaican
coming off?
apple. That's a Trinidad.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So hope I didn't cut off another thing that I had to I wanted to show. Yeah. So that is it. That he has expressed himself very well. When he goes to Trinidad, he also will experiment with their foods, and then he will give his review. But as he's saying, at that time he was in Jamaica, and he's just giving the reviews of what he sees there. When he goes to Antigua, when he goes to Grenada, any country he touches down on, we don't have to say if he's enjoying soca music, if he's enjoying whatever music that comes from the Caribbean. But now, by the way, let me just talk about the music. All of us have contributed as African peoples to music in the wider Caribbean region, right?
Of the
We have contributed to, yeah, the sound of the music. Sorry about that. It seems like I was having a little, the sounds of our music, right? Our music comes from different regions of Africa, and we've all influenced each other. Remember now that during slavery, the slaves were not just domiciled in one area. They moved the slaves from Jamaica to the United States and vice versa to Trinidad and back and forth. So the slaves also carried along with them their distinctive flavors coming from distinctive parts of Africa and the distinctive parts of the Caribbean. So we all have influenced the sounds. When I listen to the merengue from the DR, or you listen to the soca music from Trinidad and Tobago, or you listen to the mint of Jamaica, then it sounds, there are lots of similarities. And the rumba and all of these music, you can hear similar beats, similar sounds, and that we came together, or for parents, and and they influenced each other because they had to survive. They had to survive. And when we talk about hip hop also, we don't want to get into music and the fact that Jamaicans influence that genre, but the United States of African Americans influenced our local music in the Caribbean as well, particularly in Jamaica. Okay, so we nobody can say that we are the originators, and we're living a time where people want to always say that they are the ones who are the patent holders of things when we all contributed. Okay, and that is what we have to understand. So the Dominican Republic may have delivered the biggest viral numbers of IShowSpeed's Caribbean tour, with over 2 million concurrent viewers at one point, but Jamaica may have delivered something else entirely, a carefully crafted cultural experience. What began slowly and what some impatient viewers dismissed as boring gradually transformed into one of the most symbolic and emotionally powerful moments of the entire Caribbean tour. Because Jamaica did not begin with hype, it began with history. And that decision may have revealed that Jamaica understood something deeper about this moment than many people realized. When IShowSpeed arrived in Jamaica, many viewers expected immediate chaos, entertainment, celebrities, music, and non-stop energy. Instead, Jamaica opened the tour differently. The beginning of the stream was calm, educational, historical, and deliberate. Former Miss Jamaica Universe, Yendi Phillips, guided Speed through Emancipation Park, introducing him not merely to modern Jamaica, but to the island's historical consciousness. And this is where many people misunderstood what Jamaica was doing. Some Caribbean detractors immediately began criticizing the stream, saying the opening lacked excitement and hype, which I think that it shouldn't have, but that is what you went there for, and that is what people are thinking. Oh, this country won because they like the excitement and the hype. But I think Jamaica knew exactly what it was doing before the glamour, before the celebrities, before the music, before the drone spectacle. Jamaica first attempted to introduce self intellectually and historically. All right. So at Emancipation Park, Speed was introduced to the statues of Jamaica's national heroes and to the broader struggle of Black liberation and self-determination. Yendi Phillips, as we show in the video, skillfully explained the importance of Marcus Garvey, not just to Jamaica, but to Black history globally, including Africa itself. And she did a fantastic job. And that moment mattered because Speed had just returned from Africa, where Marcus Garvey remains one of the most respected Black political figures in history. Yendi connected those dots masterfully, reminding millions of viewers around the world that Marcus Garvey, whose ideas influenced Pan-Africanism, Black nationalism, and even liberation movements across Africa, was born in Jamaica. That was not accidental. Jamaica was quietly asserting its historical and intellectual contribution to the Black world. So we are not just about music and hype. that we also have some amount of intellectualism that we need to showcase to the world. Many people in the world don't think Jamaicans are intelligent based on what we show, what we package, what we market to the world. Okay, and we have to show ourselves as intelligent. This is another aspect of the culture which we need to promote and highlight more. And then came another important cultural insight. Yendi explained the confidence and psychology of the Jamaican people through a simple local phrase: nobody no better than we. Nobody is better than we. Now, to outsiders, that may sound arrogant, but culturally, Jamaicans, I should say, understand it differently. It reflects self-confidence, dignity, equality, and the refusal to see oneself as inferior, a mentality deeply shaped by slavery, colonialism, resistance, and survival. Again, Jamaica was educating while entertaining. I repeat that. Jamaica was educating while entertaining. And as an educator, I prefer the education. And this is why I believe the stream evolved so powerfully. Because after establishing history and identity, Jamaica then transitioned into spectacle. And nothing is wrong with that. Very well executed, very well organized. Suddenly, the energy shifted. The celebrities emerged. And what happened next was surreal. For a tiny Caribbean island, the concentration of global cultural influence surrounding IShowSpeed became astonishing. Members connected to the Marley family, Beenie Man, Sean Paul, Gyptian, dancehall culture, reggae history. One after another, major cultural figures engaged with Speed directly. At that moment, Jamaica was no longer simply hosting a streamer. It was showcasing decades of global cultural influence. And perhaps one of the most powerful moments came during the Bob Marley segment. Bob Marley's granddaughter helped recount his history and legacy in a way that was both educational and entertaining. Again, Jamaica was doing something deliberate. It was refusing to reduce itself to stereotypes alone. And this is what I commend Jamaica for doing, and I think the other Caribbean territories could have also done. Even though we know that IShowSpeed Show has a lot of money invested in his stores, but Jamaica sort of controlled the narrative to a certain extent. We must, and this is what we talk about partnership, we must say how we want to be viewed. We must not allow anybody, including the NBCs and any government, to come to our Caribbean territories and demand how we should showcase the narrative. We must have, some say, some autonomy in the discussion. Oftentimes we don't. And I think that Jamaica took over and said this time that we want to curate the island in the image that we want it to be seen by millions of people around the world. Now, that is good. That is good. And that is what all of the other Caribbean territories should have done. It was refusing to reduce itself to stereotypes alone, as I said. Instead of simply saying, here's music, here's vibes, here's hype, Jamaica attempted to connect music, history, Black consciousness, national identity, and entertainment into one continuous narrative. Now, did this single visit fully capture Jamaica? Of course not. And that is what we have to understand. This did not fully, had he gone to the rural parts of Jamaica, I'm sure that he would have gotten the raw culture and he would have enjoyed it. No one-day live stream could ever encapsulate the complexity of Jamaican culture. I repeat that. No one-day live stream could ever encapsulate the complexity of Jamaican culture or any other culture, as a matter of fact. But that was never the goal. The goal was to whet the appetite of millions of viewers around the world. And in many ways, Jamaica succeeded brilliantly. And I am very proud that they did that because I was not expecting them to do that, I must say. I thought they were just going to do what everybody else was doing, and the shenanigans of IShowSpeed, and yeah, he did do some stupid things, and we'll talk about that. And in many ways, Jamaica succeeded brilliantly, as I said, and came out in the grand finale successful in its endeavors, in its objectives. The drone display, and honestly, I must say the drone display was breathtaking. It was emotional, and I could see that Aisho and his parents were particularly enthralled. As IShowSpeed stood with his parents, who themselves were experiencing Jamaica for the first time, drones illuminated the sky, eventually forming the words, "The IShowSpeed Show." It was emotional, it was cinematic, it was symbolic. And at that moment, Jamaica transformed a live stream into something much larger, a demonstration of cultural soft power. The Dominican Republic may have dominated raw numbers and viral energy, but Jamaica may have delivered the most complete cultural presentation of the entire Caribbean tour. One of the things, and I have some, some things that I thought were a little bit off and showed that we're lacking in self-confidence. I don't think that we're 100% self-assured and self-confident as we say we are. And before I say those, let me just share another clipping of a video from another Jamaican who has encapsulated the fact that we have to ask foreigners to come to the Caribbean to sort of give us, to show to the world, to showcase to the world who we really are, to assert our rights as equal citizens of the world. They have to put their stamp on us. Why? Why should we allow that to happen in the 21st century? I don't allow anybody to define who I am. I define who I am. Okay, and so I'm going to go right now to him, and he is spot on in his commentary and analysis of the IShowSpeed show in Jamaica. Please indulge this conversation with this. Oh, did I have this? Yeah, let me get it up.
As Jamaicans, we export culture, but we are import validation. And this is the core contradiction, in my opinion. Jamaica exports confidence, but we import approval. The island gave the world Bob Marley, yet we still behave as though foreign entertainers are inherently more valuable than the local giants that we have produced as a country. The country, as we say, became the Marley dynasty. The fastest man or woman in the human history come from Jamaica. We gave the world 3 Miss World winners.
It's 4.
We are the architects from global music around the world, legendary sound system culture, international dance movement. We talk about the Olympics and a globally dominant diaspora culture. And yet many Jamaicans become weak at the knees because an internet celebrity arrived with camera and millions of followers. Why? Because Jamaica still struggle with colonial psychological conditioning. Too many Jamaicans still measure their own and the country's worth through external recognition. If America validates something, Jamaica embrace it. If Europe praise it, Jamaica celebrate it. If foreigners are consume it, Jamaica all of a sudden respect it. Meanwhile, local genius is often ignored until outsiders
confirm it.
Now, as Jamaicans, we export culture,
Yeah. So
but we import values.
he is
This is the
absolutely
contradiction.
spot on. And it is something that we need to get our acts together, because we do lack self-esteem, even though we claim that, we are the cultural capital of the Caribbean. No, we have to be affirmed by outsiders, by foreigners. Okay, and as he suggested, even from Bob Marley, many of us did not accept him until he was accepted abroad. And many of our geniuses have found that out. Even the Anansi man, the Anansi guy there that participated in IShowSpeed show, he was suggesting that Jamaicans at home largely do not respect his work, even though he is respected by, he says, a large number of Americans and people abroad. But if he should now burst tomorrow and everybody's talking about him in CNN and the New York Times and all of that stuff, then we begin to accept him, right? And that is how we are. And we have heard from Usain Bolt, who spoke about the fact when he was not winning the race in the initial stages, that they were not particularly impressed with him too, and they chat him, and at one point he was very discouraged. Okay? So this is the way how we behave, and we have got to change our behavior, and then we have to fix our economy, we have to fix our education system, we have to fix our healthcare system, and then we can think about the qualifier as the capital of the Caribbean. Certainly, we are the cultural capital, but we aren't necessarily so the cultural the capital of the Caribbean. How dare we say that? And let us stop doing that, because we're also creating division. When any Caribbean country is saying that they are the cultural, did something happen? The cultural capital of the Caribbean, what we're doing, we are creating more divisions. Let's not use the IShowSpeed to divide us, but let's use it to connect us, to unite us, and to fight against this sort of globalized culture where they want us to be the same and to objectify us and to quantify us and to think that our cultures can be monetized. Our cultures cannot be monetized. Of course, different people get, some money for their respective, work that they do, whether through poetry or, the fine arts or whatever, art and craft. But it doesn't mean, therefore, the culture in general is being monetized. And that is what they are doing, if you understand what I mean with this IShowSpeed agenda. But you've got to delve more deep. You have to delve deeper. I respected what Jamaica did in the sense that it was a comprehensive display. So as I said, you started off with the educational aspect and you transitioned into the spectacle, right? Which, of course, the viewers needed some amount of diversity in the program. Now, I did not respect when IShowSpeed jumped the counter to high five some of the workers. He should have been disciplined. We cannot allow a young man, because he's a streamer and he has millions of dollars, to do that. That is a lack of respect. It wasn't hygienic also, and it was just an improper behavior. And don't tell me he's a kid. He's a 21-year-old young man who is a multi-millionaire, and he needs to learn. And if he doesn't learn from the States, he has to learn from us. It should not be done. In fact, I think it was Popcorn, one of the entertainers down there, who told him that he should not be sticking out his tongue and sitting in the lap of a man. So that was already said to him that it's not going to be accepted in Jamaica. Well, we should also have told him that jumping counters and all of that stuff would not also be accepted there. It is a disrespect to the culture and its people. We could not have gone to America and done that. They would have called the police. Okay, so if we don't respect ourselves, nobody is going to respect us. Very important that you understand that. And I know that he did that also in Barbados and in Trinidad and perhaps in some other countries. And we should have corrected him. Okay, we love him. When you correct somebody, it is because you love them and you want them to grow up decently and, and to be civilized, as it were. Another thing, the BCs and whatever Jamaicans tend to use, all right? He's there, and you're going to ask him to use whatever word he wants to use, which we know, Americans are famous for doing that. And Jamaicans now are famous for doing that too. We don't respect our language, our culture, and our country. So he constantly was using, he is in the BC, Jamaica. Those two words don't go together. Those two words don't go together. If we go to America and say that we are in the F America, the F bomber, using the F bomber, they would not have taken that nicely, right? Where is the respect? Where is the self-respect? All right? We should have corrected him and say, I'm sorry. We do not use our indecent language. You don't use indecent language with our country, with our flag, because our, ancestors or foreparents or forefathers would have been very, very severely. And I'm sure if Norman Manley, Washington Manley, and these people were alive, if the Marcus Garveys of the world were alive, they would have been deeply disappointed in somebody saying that I'm in BC, Jamaica. What is going on? And the Babs Grange, she's the Minister of Culture and Gender or whatever. She should have corrected him. Okay? She should have, instead, we were defying him as someone like he's God. A young man who needs to be guided, who, had he been under my stewardship, I would have helped him to understand that that sort of behavior is unacceptable. Okay? So this is what I think. I think Jamaica did a good job, but let's also remind ourselves that when people come there, we have values, we have standards, and all of these TikTokers and the, YouTube influencers, the social media influencers in general, when you use those words, and every other word are those words, people are not viewing you well. And they're not seeing Jamaica as a civilized country. They're not seeing us as an intelligent community. Okay? So we decide. It's not IShowSpeed who's going to decide what image we want to portray to the world. Thank you so much for joining. I hope that you'd like, share, and subscribe. Like the video so the video can be shared with as many people on the platform. I don't think we're going to have a live today. I was planning a live show today. Mr. Pereira, I'm trying to arrange with Mr. Pereira for a live show tomorrow or Tuesday. So please stay tuned and make sure that you turn on your notifications, that you will be advised as to when the live show will be held. And we'll be looking at, is the United States winning the war in Iran? Is she losing or is she winning, right? Because we need to look at what is happening now. Things are getting serious and it's time for us to put our houses in order. Ciao.